when people discuss the intelligence agencies and their role in hip hop, especially gangster rap. Like, I remember the very first time I listened to NWA, and I think I told Ice Cube when he was here, I was on a fucking Stairmaster in Revere, Massachusetts, and I was listening to Fuck the Police. I was like, fuck the police, coming straight from the underground. I was like, what is this? I was a cassette Walkman, or maybe it was a CD, but it was probably a cassette Walkman. And I was like getting my cardio.
They were better for working out. They didn't skip.
They got good with the CD after a while. It didn't skip, but you had to set it on. You had to set it on the treadmill,
and you had to hit that like shock mode thing,
right.
And then that would eat your battery so quickly though. Like you'd get 3 songs in and be like, all right, you have to go to the gym with like spare batteries.
Still, to me, it was so insane that I could carry music with me to the gym. Like, that's incredible, because you'd go to the gym and it'd be like the worst Poison song playing, no disrespect to Poison, or something. Like, God, I can't get into this. I'm trying to get pumped here, man. This is fucking bullshit music. Like, someone's in charge of the station that they pick on the radio, just to be able to carry it. But that moment of hearing that music, I was like, this is celebrating crime and murder? Like, this is nuts. And murdering prostitutes, and like, this is crazy that this is like a major record label put this out. And I was only 21. And I was just sitting there going, I can't even believe this is real. And then I got really into it. Like, I got really into Ice Cube, really into Ice-T. I'd listen to that when I was delivering newspapers. It was like, gangster rap was like a completely different thing. So then cut to when people start digging into it, like, intelligence agencies there's a weird book on intelligence agencies and their role in rock and roll music in the 1960s. The book about Laurel Canyon. What is it? Strange Things? It's very interesting. I don't know if I buy it. Eddie Bravo's all in on it. I don't know if I buy it, but there's a lot of like weird connections to the intelligence community and music, particularly hip hop and particularly gangster rap. And if you want to get really dark, you would say, if you want to fill your private prisons up, what better way than have very popular music encouraging encouraging crime, encouraging outright celebrating crime and violence. That way you fill your prisons up, and you also keep people scared, so you can give them more laws and more rules and crack down and make them easier to placate, easier to get them to fall in line and do what you need them to do.
Yeah, and support massive police buildups and massive, like militarization of the police and all this stuff. And I don't know, I've heard a little bit about that. I really don't know. I know Ice Cube has talked about it before, talked about how like there's undeniably this influence. There are things about it that seem crazy, but I do know that, and I don't even think this is a controversial thing to say, I think this is just like fact at this point, that it was the Reagan administration who did traffic in cocaine to the United States of America while they were ramping up the war on drugs. So like they're bringing 100%. In their effort to help the Contras or whatever, they're going like, okay, well, these guys are drug dealers, so if we move these drugs in, we can get these money shipments to them. And then you're sitting in they're creating the conditions for the crack epidemic to explode, and then they catch one guy with a few rocks on him and they're throwing him in jail for decades. It's like, just that alone, just that one piece of information, you'd almost, if you're like in a sane world, you'd go like, oh, so the people had a revolution and overthrew that government and publicly hung all the politicians involved, and then we started over from new. And you're like,
say no.
No, they lionized that guy. Still, for decades afterwards, the Republicans at the RNC, you bring up Reagan and they go, our hero, Ronald Reagan. Like, the fact that that isn't enough to go, well, this guy should be remembered like as a monster.
Do you think they tell Reagan that they're selling crack in the hood? I don't think
know.
they do. I do not think. I do not think the intelligence agencies let that information that far up the chain to a guy who's only in there for 4 years before he has to get reelected.
Fair enough.
Not a chance.
But George H.W. Bush definitely knew.
Yeah,
that guy knew for
that
sure.
Guy knew. He fucking signed the docket.
That guy was all over that.
He was all over. He was the head of the CIA.
He was their guy.
Yeah,
he was the head of the CIA. Moved in. Right. So, But again, also you get to a certain point when you're president. I think this applies to Donald Trump in a lot of ways too, where it's like, it's your responsibility. Like, if you didn't know, then that's your responsibility for not knowing.
I don't think you have an access. I do not. I do not think in cases like that you have access. I think if they're doing something like selling crack in the hood and using the money to fund the Contras, there's no fucking way you could ever kosherize that. So I don't think you ever let the president know. I think this is all black funded. I think there's layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy before you can get to any real data and information. If you want to talk about people that are doing operations in Nicaragua, you've got things going on in Iran, you've got to pay attention to Russia, this is happening here, that's happening there. There's not a fucking chance he knows they're selling crack to pay for an army. I just don't think they might tell him.
Look, you might be right about that.
Because why would they assume that he'd go along with it?
Or tell him...
This is not a normal thing to do. I came into this office thinking I'm an actor.
Yeah.
I'm Ronald Reagan. I came into this office thinking I'm going to be a good American and we're going to get back to basics and hard work and trickle-down economics. And you're telling me you're selling crack? Hey, fuck you. You're going to jail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
because he can't. That's how Nixon got caught. So Nixon didn't organize Watergate. He tried to cover it up.
Yep.
That's how he got caught. And they would do the same thing with Reagan.
Yeah, well,
you want to come clean about all the crack selling? Do you really?